Oh, Mr. O'Leary. You want to do a collab on the channel? You do? Well, get in line, man. There's a whole lineup of people trying to get on the channel. No, you listen to me, man. You listen to me. I'm out. I'm out, okay? Yeah, have yourself a nice day. Hey guys, didn't see you there. If you're new to the channel, my name is Brandon. Welcome. In this video, we're going to be going over 10 things that you didn't know about your TFSA, the tax-free savings account. What's going on, you guys, and welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, my name is Brandon. As always, we do offer courses and training through our Investing Academy, which is that first link down below. But if you've been following along with my channel for a while, you'll know that one of the most popular videos I've ever released, with over 100,000 views, was my video on TFSAs. If you haven't already seen that video and you're new to the stock market, I would highly recommend pausing this video and going to give that a watch, because that will give you a start to finish idea of what the TFSA is all about here in Canada. But in this video, we're going to be going over some of the things that may be a little less known. But hopefully by watching this video, we'll get some clarity. We'll make sure that everyone's on top of things and that you're maximizing your TFSA as best as possible. Just FYI, we are going to be starting off with some of the more basic, simple things, and then working our way through to the end of the video where we get into more the lesser known stuff. And if you do know everything on this list, I will give you 2 big thumbs up and say that you're doing a great job with your education in the finance investing space. Let's dive on into point number 1, in that it is common knowledge that to open up a TFSA, you have to be 18 years old, as well as having a valid SIN number. In fact, if you actually look on the Government of Canada website, that's the first thing it says. Any individual who is 18 years or older and has a valid SIN number is eligible to open up a TFSA. Be aware that depending on which province you're from, there are certain provinces like BC, where I'm from here, where the actual age to open up an account is actually 19. This would be dependent on the legal age or the age of majority in your specific province. But if you do find yourself in a case like BC, when you turn 19, you're still getting the space. You've still been accruing space since 18 years old, but you do have to wait till your 19th birthday in order to actually open up an account. Secondly, we have another beginner one, but one that we need to be very clear on because I get questions on this all the time. When we withdraw money from our TFSA, it is absolutely tax-free and we have full flexibility to do that, but we don't get that space back till the next calendar year. It's not 1 year since the withdrawal. It's not 12 months out from the time you take it. It's literally when the calendar turns over, that's when we get that contribution space back. So an example that I can run with is that if we were to take out $10,000 from our TFSA on December 25th, with just a few days left in the calendar year, in 5 or 6 or 7 days, in a week or so, we would regain that space back. If instead you took that withdrawal out in, let's say, January, so let's say you waited a week or 2 to take that money out, well, then you'd have to wait a whole nother year till the next calendar year before you get that space back. So do factor that in if you are planning to take withdrawals out. The timing of that very much matters. Number 3, you can have more than one TFSA. There's nothing stopping you from opening up a number of TFSAs. Obviously, this is not going to multiply your contribution space. The contribution space is set across the board, and if you want to break that up for whatever reason, you sure can. I get questions actually all the time, whether that's a good idea or a bad idea. For me, I like to keep things simple. I like to keep things streamlined, and I wouldn't see the benefit of doing that. But if you want to have a TFSA with Questrade and one with Tangerine, or you want to have one with RBC and one with Scotiabank just for your mental sake of maybe dividing up your money, you absolutely can do that. But that's just personal preference why I like to have it in one. But the answer is you absolutely can have more than one TFSA. Nothing wrong with that. Number 4 is a very important one. Your contribution space, or the limit that you have to put in your TFSA, that is solely reflective of your deposits. That's solely looking at how much you contribute into your TFSA. It is not reflective of how well your investments are doing. Let's assume you just turned 18 or 19 and you have $6,000 worth of space. You could, in theory, put $6,000 in and grow that to $100,000. You could grow that to $1 million if you pick an amazing investment. They're not going to penalize you for picking great investments. It's just the contributions that we're talking about. Now, a couple points to tag onto that. If you hypothetically grew your $6,000 portfolio, TFSA portfolio, to $100,000, if you withdrew the $100,000, you get to retain that space. You earn that space. You don't drop back down to $6,000. If you withdraw $100,000 worth of space, the next calendar year, you're gonna get that $100,000 worth of space back plus next year's contribution space. Now, unfortunately, the reverse for that is also true. If you picked investments that did terribly, and if your portfolio shrunk from 6,000 to 5,000 to 1,000 and you made that withdrawal, well, you've actually minused out your room. You've actually deleted TFSA space. It goes both ways, but understand overall, the takeaway from this point is that if you have contribution space, that is exactly that. That's for your contributions, not so much for the growth of your portfolio. You can absolutely exceed that. Number 5, if you have some spare money around, feel free to kick that money into your spouse's TFSA. You can absolutely do that, seeing how TFSA contributions are made with after-tax dollars. We've already paid tax on these dollars, and then we're popping them into the account. So if your spouse has some extra space and yours is maxed out, why not kick it in there? Because now you have some money to grow sheltered from tax. You can buy some investments, grow them tax-free, and really maximize that account as best as possible. Number 6, don't get overzealous with your contributions because there are penalties if you go over your limit. The penalty for an over contribution is 1% per month on the excessive amount or on the over contributed amount. This does happen from time to time, and in reality, it can often be a small, easily corrected mistake. I've even heard cases of people that purposely over contribute to their accounts for short periods of time based on their specific situation. But overall, be very careful about your limits. You can always find this, as I always mention, on my CRA. If you go to CRA, my account, I should say, you can log in and it will have your personal TFSA contribution space along with your RRSP. A great resource to look at. And actually, when I posted my last video, people asked, is that safe? Is it legitimate? That is a government run website. So don't feel bad about signing up for that. That is a very legitimate place to go check your contribution space. But there is a penalty for over contributions. So be very, very careful. Number 7, here's a good one. You can trade too frequently in your TFSA and you can get in trouble with the CRA. They will come from time to time. If you are constantly trading, like for example, if you're using your TFSA for day trading, if you're using your TFSA for professional trading purposes, they have every right, they being the CRA, they have every right to audit you, to take a look into your account and make an assessment on whether they feel that's too much. If they deem that's the case, they have every right to revoke the taxable benefits of a TFSA. The funny thing about this topic is that there is a lot of gray area on what they consider too much trading. In fact, there isn't a set threshold. There's no actual guidelines on how many trades, how many contributions. They don't have a set number. It's really up in their hands. If they do decide to audit your TFSA and take a look, it really boils down to a judgment call. That's why if you are somebody that's considering day trading in the stock market, don't mess with the TFSA, just go open a margin account. Worry about taxes like everybody else. For everybody else, this is not something that you should have to worry about, even if you're a more frequent trader, even if you do make more trades than your friends, than your neighbors, than myself. As long as you're not buying and selling stocks all day, every day, you're very likely going to be just fine. On to number 8, definitely one of the most asked questions that we've ever got on this channel. Yes, US dividends in the TFSA are subject to a 15% withholding tax. And I know this goes against what everybody says in that the TFSA is truly a tax-free account. And I would say that myself. If anybody asked me, I would say the TFSA is truly tax-free. Best account out there. However, it is important to be aware that if you hold a US company, take a company like McDonald's or a company like Coca-Cola, which does pay a US dividend, because they are they're foreign to us here in Canada, being in the US, the IRS will actually withhold 15% of that dividend. Let me be very clear on this. You are not paying 15% tax on the entire position, on the entire gain. You don't have to write a check at the end of the year. You don't even have to get a tax slip. You're not gonna get a tax slip for the TFSA. It's a tax-free account. What's gonna happen is they're going to withhold, meaning they're not gonna give you the full dividend. If you were set to receive a $1 dividend, so 100 cents, they would withhold 15 of those cents. 15% would be withheld at source. You would get the rest. So what you actually get in your portfolio is what you have to keep. You don't have to worry about any tax slips. You don't have to worry about anything come year end. What you get in your portfolio is what you get. Just understand that they are actually withholding 15%. This wouldn't be the case if it was a Canadian stock. Take the company Power Corp or Fortis in your TFSA, you would get the whole 100% of that dividend. Yes, US stocks are subject to a 15% withholding tax. On to number 9, here's more or less a tip to know about. Whether you're an older viewer, maybe this is applicable to you now, maybe this is something you will do when you enter into retirement. But when your RRSP converts to a RIF, so RRSP is a completely separate account than the TFSA. When you turn 71, you have to start peeling money out. That's a given. That's how these accounts are set up. A very common practice is you can actually roll that money over directly into your TFSA. So come the new year, you can pull out, I should say, you have to pull out X amount from your RIF, take that money, if you don't need to use it, and pop it directly into your tax-free account so that it's sheltered. This is a very common practice with people that don't want to withdraw the money and use it personally. Might as well just roll it over, pop it straight in. Very, very good practice when you do enter that age. On to our last point for today's video, number 10. And by the way, if you guys have enjoyed this video so far, if you've learned anything new, if you appreciate the content, please do drop a big thumbs up. You can even let me know down in the comment section below. But number 10, unfortunately, involves death. It's something that we don't want to talk about, but it is a serious reality. With the TFSA, you can absolutely name a beneficiary. You can actually also set it up with a successor. I always struggle saying that word. Beneficiary or a successor. The major difference between these two is that a successor would have to be someone like a spouse or a common law versus a beneficiary that can be named as really anybody out there. You could name them your spouse or common law as a beneficiary, but if you did want to pass that money on to someone else, beneficiary, you can name anybody. In both cases, it is a rather seamless transfer. In the case that you did kick the can, you did bite the bullet. Well, no, that's not the right word to say. You didn't bite the bullet. If you died, both cases, they do pass outside of the estate. So very simple. And both cases do avoid any probate fees. It's very, very simple. You could always let's assume you knew you were going to pass away. You always have the flexibility to simply withdraw the money beforehand and pass that money along outside. It's your money to do what you want with it. But of course, it can always be beneficial to be proactive and to prepare yourself for the worst. And you can absolutely set up a beneficiary or a successor if that's something you'd like to do. But guys, that will be it for our video today on 10 things that you didn't know about the TFSA. If you are somebody that knew every one of these things, I would say a big thumbs up to you because you're staying on top of things. That's very awesome. But hopefully for everybody else out there, you learn at least something new on this list. The TFSA is an account that I think everybody should be taking advantage of, whether you're just turning 19 or whether you're 65 and you're investing for the first time. A wonderful tax-free account, a wonderful option that we have available to us as Canadians. And I hope that you enjoyed today's video. If you did, again, feel free to drop a quick thumbs up. That really does help. You can subscribe for more content because we post videos like this every week. And then if you are like very new to the stock market, or if you're just looking to learn more, we do have our Investing Academy, which is that first link in the description below. We offer courses and training and a community that you get to join where we can take you step by step through the entire process. You can ask questions, you can meet the others. It's really awesome thing that we have going. But that's it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I do thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.